What's up, everybody? What's up, Levy? The Graffiti Archive. Hey, Manny. Enjoying your day off, I hope. Good morning, Scotsman. There he is, Joe Menna, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Okay, this is, I'm going live with you, Joe. That fast. What's up, everybody? Here we go. Going live. Joe,
Connected.
what's up, buddy?
How are you? Thank you so much, man. I can't tell you what an honor this is. Really means a lot.
Of course, bro. It's an honor to have you on. Joe Menna is a incredible talent. He's a great sculptor. He's a real deal artist. And Joe and I have an incredible amount of parallel life stories. So what's up, Andy from Sideshow, Collectibles, the Brit? How you doing? Joe, why don't you talk a little bit about who you are, where you're from, man, and our overlap, because I'm from the hip hop world, you're from the punk rock world, but we're both from the New York world.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up outside of Philly originally, but soon migrated to New York in my early 20s for graduate school and lived there for a long time. Went to art college in America, art grad school in America. But I spent a lot of time in New York City, going to a lot of the same clubs that you did, and a lot of the same, locations. Hip hop, growing up in the Northeast, was definitely part of my experience. But let's put it like this: like, whereas you knew people growing up with them, like I saw Run DMC at the Magic Kingdom for grad night, 88. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the difference. Like I was in the suburbs, just getting it secondhand. But I grew up with a very diverse community of friends who exposed me to a lot of cool stuff growing up, and definitely was into punk rock and all that. But my overriding passion was comic books and Star Wars, and which ultimately from the time I was like 2, I was like drawing, copying comics, making my own characters, wanting to be that, and then somehow, like yourself, that led to an interest in fine art and brought me on that vector. So I don't want to ramble on, but yeah.
So, but then, Joe, and what's up to Detour, another great artist out there in the house. Um, did When you left the States, talk a little bit about how intense your education was as an artist, because a lot of people don't have the luxury or the wherewithal or the ability to get a classical education. A lot of people think also they don't need a classical education. Um, Myself, I went to the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, which was in a lot of ways like the Harvard of art school. So I was lucky enough to study with monsters like Vern Hogarth, who we talked about Vern Hogarth and
Yeah.
all of his dynamic anatomy. Vern Wilson, Steve Houston, Laurie Madden, Harry Carmian, who's the figure artist in the Master series. So, I was really lucky enough to do that. And you were lucky enough to go to St. Petersburg in Russia, and you were like one of the only Americans there grinding with these high-level, crazy Russian.
I was the first and only.
Wow.
So what happened was I had a professor who'd studied in Russia for 6 years when I was in Philly and New York. So what I did was I worked as a waiter on the Upper East Side, saved up enough money to go to Russia for 2 years, and I wound up there because this Russian guy was like my Obi-Wan. He could draw and sculpt better than anyone else that I knew. See, this is a lot of younger people don't realize what it was like before the internet. I didn't know that there were great schools out in the West Coast. I had teachers on the East Coast telling me, "Oh, New York is the place. New York is the place." There wasn't really shit. Can I curse? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. You could extra curse. Don't fucking curse.
Right. No, there wasn't shit in New York. There really wasn't. Yeah, Art Students League and stuff like that. There were some legacy schools, but they weren't the same. The National Academy of Design but they weren't at the same level that they were back in, like, you know, way back in the day when George Bridgman was teaching there. You know, when
Ooh, George
Robert
Bridgman.
Beverly Hale was teaching there. It just wasn't like that. So I
By the
wanted
way,
to.
little footnote of Bridgman. Did you know that Norman Rockwell studied with George Bridgman?
And no, I heard that, but also there's a good anatomy book by a guy named Stephen Rogers Peck. That was one of Bridgman's students.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
a lot of comic book artists from way back in the day had actually studied with Bridgman because they were all from New York. Marvel and DC were situated in New York.
Right.
So so I wanted to get a more rigorous training along the lines of like Rodin or Michelangelo. If you want, I can show you some of my student work. I have it laid out.
I would love to see it.
I don't think you've ever seen it. If I can
No.
find it here.
Okay, guys, we're
Okay.
getting a treat.
So that's a life-size figure that I did while I was in Russia
Look at that, girl.
from a live model.
Wow.
And then this drawing is about 2 feet by 3 feet. There's a photograph of it, of course, but that's from a plaster cast.
Nice. Beautiful.
This is an original I did of Van Gogh. He's
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Yeah, thank you so much. There's another life-size figure.
And when you say life size, these are like 5 feet 5 inches, right? Like,
yeah, however tall the models were. Actually, that's about what I am. So that's exactly life-size.
Jesus Christ.
And then here's a drawing. But you know, let me get this button. I still try and approach that kind of stuff every once in a while for my personal work.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm in a track where I told you can't really talk about it, right? But I can mention it. I was told.
Yeah, because your credentials are off the charts.
You know,
you can't legally mention his credentials because he's bound by silence.
Yeah, well, I did ask them, and they said I could state factually what I do.
Okay,
so I'm the chief engraver of the United States of America, which means I'm the art director for all U.S. coins that are made, congressional gold medals, all that kind of stuff. And then you know, I've been doing that for about 15 years. That's my day gig. I'm the 14th chief engraver since 1792, and it's one of the oldest sculpture. It's one of the oldest positions a sculptor can hold in the country. So I'm very proud of that, and that's about probably all I'm allowed to say about it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's very gracious of you. But I also I have a bunch of statues and stuff all spread out too to show later on whenever you want. I'm really into look. I'm also a fan of pop culture. I grew up loving comic books. So like when I got back from Russia, I worked in a fine art foundry. Am I going on too much?
No, please go.
Yeah, I was working in a fine art. Was lucky enough to get a job at a fine art foundry where we would do stuff like this, but based on like different artists' maquettes and stuff like that. You know, and I would do what was called an enlargement. I would take calipers and by eye take the maquette. Oftentimes, I actually sculpt the maquettes for the artists, and it would enlarge them to 6-foot figures. And out of plastiline, they get cast, and then they get cast in plaster, and ultimately cast in wax, and then cast in bronze through the lost wax process. And did that for 8 years. And then during that time, I got my first commission, a 7-foot statue for a place called the Grounds for Sculpture near Princeton, New Jersey. And there's artists like Red Grooms, who's like a famous kind of pop artist, and other well-known New York kind of gallery artists were in this garden at the time. So that was cool. I was like 28 years old. So for me to get that commission was like everything. It was awesome. And then I got a commission to do a 30-foot tall statue. It was my idea to do. They needed statues for a train station, but they only had to be temporary. So I did a 30-foot tall statue of John Henry, steel driving man, because I thought that would be most appropriate for the train station. I don't really have a good picture of that. Otherwise, I'd show it. But I spent 8 years doing that. But at the same time, I fucking hated it. The foundry life was terrible. They treated us like shit. I mean, it was menial labor as far as they were concerned. Despite the fact that we were all highly skilled artists, and but we did get free studios, so that was really cool. I wound up being able to do a lot of personal work, including I don't know what that was, including my water bottle. No, like this is the kind of stuff I do for myself.
Right, that's cool.
this bust of Caesar. This is bronze.
Oh,
And
that's great.
yeah, that's kind of stuff I would do in my free time. Whoops, that's my studio. And yeah, my studio is like a big geek man cave. And so I got
So,
into that. I was into that, but then I resisted trying to do collectibles work in the beginning because I thought that it would be regressive for me to go back to comic books and all that stuff. I had to go forward, but I felt this pull towards it. So I'll show later on my very first piece that I did for my collectibles portfolio. But I don't want to keep just babbling. Whatever you got for me.
well, I don't know how people know that we met, but Joe, I went to Sideshow Collectibles and I saw a bunch of films that they showed me. One of the films was on Joe Menna. I was like, dude, that dude is, and myself, we have so much in common because we kind of ran in the city life. We ran in city life, and we both are classically educated. Myself as a painter, you as a sculptor, and we have similar trajectories. And they said, hey, we want to put Joe Menna with you to do your statues, to do my B-boy, my MC, the DJ, the graph writer, whatever. So I was like, you're kidding me. That's the best news ever. So then just working with you back and forth, that's how, that's how we know each other. We know each other in a working relationship. And immediately had a tremendous amount of respect for Joe, just because of his background and what he did, not only in the collectible world, but what you do with your fine art and your history. You know what I mean?
I think our histories are parallel in many ways. With you got the best of the best from over here, and I got the best of the best from over there. But the principles I can see in your work just by looking at it. Like I can see, like, oh, look at the way he's turning that. Oh, look at the way he's stretching that out. Like, oh, look at the way he's throwing the light. Like, okay, the light's not just coming from one source. It's like he's got light popping from here, but then he's throwing some backlight under here, and he's got light coming from here. And like I can see the way you go bop, 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 the rhythms and all the stuff that you do is all stuff that we learned in school. I mean, like the same way, like when Bern Hogarth would talk about, just from the books, okay, but just from the books, we see him like throwing the rhythm of a leg. That's the same way we learned when we started making these statues. My teacher, they actually had prints of Bern Hogarth's work in my school in Russia.
Yeah.
In the anatomy room. And George Bridgman,
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Wait, I need you. Oh, I said I need you. Sorry, just in case. So we're working on these incredible things, and Joe and I are going back and forth, and just so much knowledge that I'd like to share with you. And I tell everybody now that you called me the greatest living American painter. So now I'm quoting you constantly, and it might become like disgusting how much I say it, just to let you know that. Just to warn you.
You are the modern Thomas Hart Benton. That's what I said. Yeah. On top of it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, Thomas Hart Benton was an absolute beast.
But he reinvented the world, and that's what you do. You're not just a great traditional painter. You reinvent reality according to your vision, not to kiss your ass. It's just the truth, I mean, like, and that's what Benton did. That's what Michelangelo did. That's what all great artists do,
Well,
I mean, I'm not going to put myself down, but I wish I need to try and do more of that with my personal work, because I get so overwhelmed with doing so much. In addition to my day job, I'm a collectible sculptor, so I get so bogged down with doing all the collectibles work. And I'm not talking about anything that I'm not saying that in a pejorative way, but you're part of a team that's there to execute someone else's vision.
Right.
That's what that job is. So you don't get to invest a lot of yourself in it. Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
But as I'm just turned 50, I want to make sure that before I'm 6 feet under, that I'm fully proud. And I'm very proud right now, but I want to be fully proud of what gets left behind.
I hear you, and I agree with my own work too. I feel like the best is yet to come. So Joe, why don't you give us a little bit of a tour of your atelier?
Well, it looks more like a converted bedroom, but I'll start over here. This is, first of all, I just have tons of comics and geek stuff everywhere, and then there's my traditional sculpting table that I condensed a little bit to make room for a statue to show you guys. If it becomes too much of a show and tell, I'll stop. This is the very first collectible that I ever did. This is the Ironmonger bad guy figure for the Iron Man film, the very first one.
Oh, wow.
And then that got me working for DC Direct. And that's the very first thing I did for DC Comics, Batman coming out of a window. And that was a whole series of them that we did.
Okay, cool.
And that's Space Invaders, but. And then this is a Solomon Grundy action figure. They made it so his chest pops off and his heart comes out. This is from a video game.
Nice.
Over here, I have like
Funny, Scott.
I got Green Lantern, New Teen Titans for DC, Batman head for DC. This is my traditional section here, and this is a statue that I'm working on now, a sculpt that I'm working on now.
Very cool. I like that. It reeks a little bit of Alberto Giacometti.
I'll take that. I like him. You know,
I like him too.
He was a student of my favorite sculptor, Emile Antoine Bourdelle.
Oh,
he was
cool.
a student. But that's the very first collectible statue that I ever tried to do there, this Conan figure. It's not Conan. It's just like a warrior, you know. But
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
In my head, that was my model. But then I have all these casts that I use for reference. And I've got this beautiful Nefertiti bust. And then a giant Michelangelo in the basement. And then I got this thing that I got at an antique store that I use for reference, which is awesome.
Oh, that's great.
And then here's my Bible growing up, and still to this day, he's my favorite artist, honestly. I love Van Gogh. But just the passion and the energy and his writings. His writings mean a lot to me because, you know, that's just my spiritual kind of guide. This is a Judge Dredd statue. I don't know if you're familiar with the character Judge Dredd, but that's a bust. That's a statue that I did. And then I get to like Rorschach and other things that I did for other companies. This is for Sideshow Collectibles. This is the Death Trooper Specialist. Everything was sculpted by me, except for the cloth bits in here and this shoulder pad up here. They were sculpted they were put together by Tim Hansen over at Sideshow and his team. My art director on this was my friend Kevin Ellis, and this is a great project. I'm being very careful to say only what was said in the copy when I was allowed to post it online.
No, I got it. Did you do that Cat Williams, that Michelle Pfeiffer Cat?
Yeah, this was my first gig. Yeah, this is my first gig for Sideshow.
That's cool.
And this is directed by Walter O'Neill and by David Igo as well. And this was one of my favorite things I ever did.
Let me look at that face.
And it was painted by Kat Sapine, I believe.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
And those credits are all on the Sideshow website. I'm not like...
Yes, you're allowed to be seeing this, Amani the Barber, because this is all stuff that is being allowed. He's allowed to show all the stuff. He's not allowed to show my stuff, right? We can't show the BUA statues yet. That's not out yet. But wait till you see those. Joe broke ground, if I may say so. Joe broke some major ground, and hopefully it was really fun to do because
this is going to sound like a company man, but I have yet to have a project for Sideshow that has not been fun to do. These were especially fun to do. I know that they're going on. I know there's stuff going on behind the scenes with them still, and I can't wait for everybody to see them.
They're the elements of hip hop: the b-boy, the MC, the DJ, and the graph writer, and all of them. And Joe, you'll come. We'll talk to everybody about it when it's actually out there. What do you like to do? Like do you ever just doodle? Like, what's your main go-to doodle? Like, if you're just sitting there on the phone or just like don't have work to do, which is probably rare for you, right? A rare moment when you actually get to just jam and have fun and just be musical with your hands. What do you draw when that time happens?
I do a lot of different things. I'm really big into Arthurian legend. So with in my sketchbooks, which I have a ton of over there, I usually kind of with a ballpoint pen of all things,
Hmm.
I'll go and I'll just start scribbling, and then about 5 years ago I had a show at a Brooklyn gallery, of my prints that were drawn in Photoshop, but it was based all on the work of Edgar Allan Poe. It was all very crosshatchy, just like these drawings here. But there was like a skull on top of a raven. Did this big portrait of Edgar Allan Poe, a bunch of stuff like that, and that was stuff that I wish I had more time to explore, that kind of gallery stuff. But it's just like I also do a lot of fan art because I'm a comic book geek, and I'll just wind up drawing like Superman or drawing Spider-Man or messing around.
Hmm.
It's always something different. But sometimes I get a block, sometimes I feel like I can't get past the white, and
Hmm.
I can't I sit there and I just start going around, and I
Are you
just
lefty?
no, it's just flipping on you.
Okay. Okay. Got you.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's just
that's right.
I can't. Sometimes I draw a blank and I just hit the wall.
We all do, right? I mean, I think everybody, well, Picasso says, how do you know you're inspired unless you have a pen working? Inspiration exists, but it has to find you working. I mean, these are all important sayings because every artist knows that that's part of what making art is. Art is almost, you need blocks to overcome something. You need something uh, you need that kind of impetus and obstacle to get to another level. You need a ceiling to break through. And I feel like sometimes we create it in our own mind, perhaps. So these are self-fulfilling obstacles that we then have to overcome to create greatness.
I know also that I miss working in clay. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was one of the I made some of the. This is this is the first collectible statue that I ever did. This Mephisto here, the red guy in the chair.
Hmm.
That was for Randy Bowen back in like 2007.
Very
And
cool.
it felt great to be able to do it, right? It was a great opportunity. And it's one of the first collectible statues in the industry. And so I got known, it's one of the first digital statues in the industry, I mean. So I got known as Mr. Digital early on. Like now there's all kinds of great talents out there, like, Daniel Bell and all the whole team at Sideshow. And the list could go on forever. And and some of those artists have been working as long as I have digitally, if not longer. But I was able to get in on the ground floor, so I kind of got that became my means of helping to support my family, and it became a necessary evil in the beginning. But I grew to like it, and I grew to love it, and now I get invited to do demonstrations at the sculpture. The software that we use is called ZBrush. That's what we sculpt with. And I've been invited to participate in many different capacities at the ZBrush Summit that they have annually in LA. I've been invited by DC Comics to do demonstrations at Comic-Con on multiple occasions.
Hmm.
Um, I've been very fortunate in the way that I've been received by the community as a digital artist, and and that I'm able to continue to get work here now, 14 years into it. You know, I'm 50 years old, right? And this business, there's 22-year-old guys popping up left and right that definitely want to take whatever work I have, and so I
Yes,
have
they
to stay.
do.
Yeah, I got to stay nimble, got to stay
That's
on my
right.
toes, and I have to keep perfecting my craft. And I get lazy, like I don't study as much. There's always some new gizmo that comes out in the software, or some new software that comes out, and it's a pain in the ass to learn it. But I kind of have been remiss in taking the time to do that
Oh, forget
because
about it, bro. My digital skills are like, I paint and draw in Photoshop sometimes, but like, I'm working right here on an easel. Look at my easel. It's just, I have a giant easel here, and that's how I create. Um, Old school. And that's okay because, learning the new helps with the old, and knowing the old definitely helps with the new.
I
I
think,
have a
yeah,
lot of people in the industry who are like, man, I can't find enough good painters. These kids can paint digitally, but they can't paint traditionally, and that's killing me right now. I'm not going to say his name, but he always complains about just not getting enough people, because it's easier to teach people who have traditional painting skills Photoshop than it is to teach, the digital people traditional analog skills.
Absolutely. And I think that the best digital sculptors are the ones that had some kind of traditional training or background. And then it's really cool because, excuse me, I know many of the best guys in the industry working for the top video game companies. I see them online on Facebook and Instagram going back and going back and doing traditional sculptures,
Yeah.
doing drawing, doing oil paintings, trying to get back in touch with that core, because they recognize that is really the essence of art making. And it's like digital's great. I don't look at digital as a tool. I look at it as a whole nother medium. Like oil painting's a medium, painting's a medium, sculpting's clay's a medium. Digital ZBrush is a medium. It's not a tool. And it's like, if you have the traditional chops to be able to immerse yourself in that, so many traditional artists that I know have made the transition from working traditionally in toys and collectibles into digital, and they're great at it. But I miss working on these big pieces. I miss working in clay. I miss getting my hands, dirty and wet with clay that was quarried from the earth, and the smell of it, and brushing it off.
Grounding, right? It feels the tactile aspect of it feels grounding. I think it's much like kids playing in the dirt. We need to walk on the earth. We need to get our hands in mud and dirt, and we need to we need to garden. We need to sculpt. We need to do that, and all of this digital stuff. And I'm doing it right now with my EMF radioactive telephone. But hey, it's the world we live in. But we don't have that earthing, and I feel like sculpting is very earth, as is really drawing with charcoal. I feel like in that a lot of ways, drawing with charcoal is like drawing with burnt earth.
Right. Well, that's why I try and keep a plastiline sculpture going over there all the time, because I do love digital. I do love it, but I need to keep going back. And even though I'm working smaller scale over there because of time size constraints in my studio, I'm still going back there and pushing clay around, and it feels good. And granted, I've been working on it for about a year, even though it looks like it's in its nascent stages. I've been dicking around with that for like a year now because I haven't had time to work on it. But
Joe, do you have the ability to do a little drawing with me right now, or like to turn the camera around to draw with me, or is that not because of your camera? See, I have my daughter here; she could hold the camera.
yeah,
So easy
I'm
for
stuck.
me.
I just have my camera propped up here against my.
Can you maybe like flip it down and do a little drawing?
I could try, but it wouldn't be as good as what you're doing.
Oh, that's baloney. It'll be better.
I don't think so.
What do you want to draw? Do you want to draw some Zeusian, hero's journey?
Joseph Campbell.
Joseph Campbell, Icarus. I'm thinking of all the different ones. Prometheus, Icarus. Who's the guy again who pushes the rock up with your
Sisyphus.
Sisyphus. Thank you. Yeah, I'll draw Sisyphus.
Trying to prop this up.
You could draw whoever. I could draw Icarus, Sisyphus.
That's so Sisyphusian.
Right? All right, I'm going to do it here. Okay, Atlas. Atlas, the whole, you're saying, wait, you guys want to see Atlas? You mean where he's holding up the world? Joe would be good at that because you're really good at the anatomy. That'd be really funny to do a real skinny dude holding up the world. That's the kind of dude I would do, like some skinny brother holding up the world like, this shit is heavy.
Let's see if I can get this. I'm trying to make some. Oh, that might work.
This shit is, I'm gonna do that. This shit is heavy. Like that.
Going to be sideways. Let me see if I can get a sketchbook.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have my daughter.
Dead air.
You draw anything you want. I'm either gonna draw Atlas as my skinny Atlas holding up the world, or Sisyphus as my skinny, elongated Sisyphus pushing up the world. Pushing up the world. Yeah, pushing up the stone. Because every time he pushes up the stone, it keeps rolling down, and that's like life. That's life. Okay. And draw, Joe. I don't know if you know this, but I draw with two hands.
You told me you paint with two hands. I didn't know you drew with two hands.
Yeah. Okay. What am I doing here? I have no idea. The hands sunk together. And guys, just you could feel that you could draw along with us, or you could just kind of. And I want to get into the style of Joe. Joe, I was super inspired by your by that one statue you have going. I think I saw it on your feed, the one where I was like, damn, that looks like Giacometti.
Thank you. That's the same one I just popped right now a couple minutes ago. Can you see that? I know it's sideways. That doesn't matter, right?
I can see it. Okay. Something like this, guys. Just my pad sucks here a little bit, but it's all right. Or maybe I'll have time to do two.
Yeah, because I can't even draw a head here.
Hey, Pops.
Right. Trying to make this kind of fun in the story too. Okay, guys. So we're drawing. I don't know what you're drawing, Joe. What are you drawing? Sorry.
King Arthur.
Oh, he's doing King Arthur. See, I'm doing Skinny Atlas. Not many of my fans see me drawing Atlas in a weird squat.
Mine looks like shit. But your kid's there and I'm cursing.
It's okay. Joe is drawing, and when he draws, he thinks sculpturally. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, you getting this? You getting that this is the world here?
And the pen ran out of ink. I will be right back.
Here, you want to go on this, maybe on this side?
It gets to go from ballpoint to micron. Oh, yours is great. Jesus.
Oh man, I'm just having fun. That's what I like to do. Anytime I get to draw out of my, like, when's the last time I did Atlas holding the world? I could tell you when, could never. That's when Atlas was all skinny. This is just going to be lost in shadow. But the Earth is casting probably a huge shadow. I'll get into that later. Sometimes, Joe, I just feel like, oh God, I could just paint this so easily. I'm so annoyed. You ever feel that about sculpture or no?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Like it'd be easier to sculpt it than it would be to draw it sometimes.
Yeah, because I'm like, I would just kind of knock this all into one value and one color and one plane, and now I just got to draw it all out. It's fine, but these thoughts do cross my mind. And see, Joe and I have never drawn together. This is the first time. We're making history here. And yet we've worked creatively together for a long time now, which is interesting.
I'm going to ink something.
By the way, I added the dick and balls just in case you guys are like, what is that? It's a have to. It's part of, he's naked. So it's not like I'm going to leave it out. It's weird. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Where is that? The world is a vampire. Okay, let's see. Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, tickets to go see them in July. It doesn't look like it's happening.
Oh God.
With Guns N' Roses.
Oh my God, I would love that.
Same show.
Yeah, that would have been. Hopefully things will go live again one day. This fits behind there. Let's see, he's picking it up. De la bombe, bébé. C'est vrai. J'essayais. Mais c'est dur, quand même. Okay, let's see. Joe, did you pick up Russian when you were there or no?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
I speak very poorly, but I speak it.
Okay.
You could drop me off in the middle of Russia and I get out,
Could you though? Because they might just keep you there just because from a political point of view.
Yeah, that's true. I just went back 2 years ago. I'll tell you what, it was the best time I've had in a mighty long time. I still have very close friends there. All my classmates are still like brothers. And it was wonderful.
That's amazing.
But it was during the World Cup, so they were on their best behavior.
There you go. Okay, this is the cat.
Not my friends, the government.
I got it. Yeah, no, I got it. So, there, let's see. This is all going to get knocked into shadow. This is a little short, this leg, but fuck it. Who cares? And there would be a hot spot right on that knee. Coming here. I'm getting the sartorius muscles, Joe. I don't think I left those out. Sartorius muscles there. Sartorius there. I don't really think too much about anatomy. Just kind of, feel whatever feels right for the most part.
Honestly, that's what I do when I sculpt, even though it's like sacrilege to say it amongst like collectible sculptors.
Nah, I don't buy into that because the best draftsmen I know, some of them don't know shit about anatomy. So it helps. It definitely, I'm not going to bullshit and say it doesn't help, but it's not the be all end all. By the way, he's got curly hair, Joe. This guy.
It looks great.
Yeah, it's coming along, man. It's probably one of my greatest works. Just kidding. It's fine. Let's see. Maybe he's got a goatee too, right? Like, everything always becomes my friend Ruben. He's got a thick neck, so that's kind of cool. Like he's kind of strong. And maybe a continent here, Joe. I don't know, like South America or some shit. Some islands here. Okay, here. Hold on. What's that? What time is it? 11. We have a little bit of time. A little bit of time. Hold on. Let me do a hotspot here.
Did kind of an alternate universe Batman.
Oh, you doing Batman now?
Well, I skipped over because I really had a hard time drawing directly from this angle. The
Okay,
camera
cool.
like this. So it was easier to ink something that I already had
Got it.
than to
Okay,
draw
cool.
from. I cheated.
You didn't cheat. There's no cheating in drawing and painting, by the way. There just is. What do you think of this, Joe? Are you okay with this?
It looks great. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Just. Okay, so he's holding up the world. He's a little thin. He's got a little hair on his arms, though. Don't forget about that. Hair on his legs, too. Not much.
I'm spectating now.
There's mountains and the road. This is kind of maybe it's.
I think I just got reprimanded for not getting out of my comfort zone.
By who?
One of your fans.
No. Love the inking. Someone said it's therapeutic, dude. How about that?
There you
That's
go.
pretty cool. That's great, and that's what I always feel, man. Art is therapy. Art is very therapeutic. I'm jamming out my version of Atlas, which is probably the thinnest Atlas in the history of the world, by the way. No one's ever done a thinner Atlas, guys. The deltoids should be big, though, no matter what. Big deltoids are always lovely. They really are. Like with thin deltoids, they suck. They do. They suck. I mean, you want to have some juicy delts. Juicy delts leading into the pecs. Bam! Right here. See, this would really be casting a shadow over his whole body, which I would paint. I would paint like maybe a cast shadow from the world on him, maybe like that. Maybe. maybe. There, just imagine redness in that elbow, guys. Redness. Redness in the kneecap here. Redness in the kneecap here. A little redness in his penis, in his nose. And I would tickle the redness a little in his ears. Why not? Oh, birds flying. Maybe because they're going to another mountaintop right here, which you didn't even know about, guys. Joe, I'm going to tell you about what's happening on the mountaintop. But that's where Prometheus is getting. They're circling, right? They're circling. Prometheus is here, getting his heart eaten.
I think it's his
His
stomach
liver.
or liver.
His liver. Yes, my daughter corrected me. Said it's his liver. Here's Prometheus on the hill. Ah.
I switched to sculpting.
All right. Ooh, God, I love that sculpture right there, bro.
I should have thought of that in the first place.
Here he goes. There he goes. This is the crow eating the regenerative liver over here. In the meantime, so you get another tail on this side. That'd be cool, like to do one of all the tails, like in one scene, without doing it cheesy though, of course. Okay, so there you go. So that's Prometheus getting his liver regenerated. Here's Atlas. There's some ruins back there, and they kind of keep going back into space. Look at that. And there's another layer of mountains probably here.
Oh, my tattoo, it stands for my last name, Menna, M. My wife did it. My wife's a tattoo artist.
Oh, very cool.
I don't know if I'm allowed to answer questions.
Yeah, answer questions. Someone said reminds me of Gustave Doré. Mine or his? Because Doré was also a sculptor. I love Doré, Joe. What do you think of Doré? I mean, he's got to be
I've
one of your favorites, right?
got a couple books right here in my office, man. I love it, man.
He's incredible. Gustave Doré, I feel like there'd be no Daumier without Doré in a way, right?
That's not a connection that I made, but I think that's awesome.
Man, I saw there's a Doré statue in San Francisco in front of the museum. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me! It's so good. Okay, there we go. So,
I like Domier's caricatures.
me too, a lot.
The sculptures. I saw them all in Paris this summer. It was amazing. Because I'd only seen them in books before. Maybe they have them at the Met. I don't know.
Okay, what do you think of this, Joe?
It looks great.
I think I'm pretty done. That is my, like as promised, my Atlas holding up the world. And people don't really understand this, but I went crazy and I added Prometheus right there, getting his heart eaten by the vultures, or his liver, which is regenerating. There's going to be a cast shadow down that from that horrible death scene there. There's going to be probably some grass too. Anyway, there you have that. Done. Woo! That was fun.
It was, yeah, I was, I guess I kind of I did 3 different things while you did one great thing. So
Look, man, you did drawings and sculptures at the same, and inking. You did a whole thing. It's amazing how fast we could create this. By the way, Joe, I'm drawing with Prisma. This is all my Prisma, which is wax crayon. That's what I did this, and so I cannot erase it. I just cannot. It does not erase. Joe, what is the future? Okay, so I have a couple questions for you before we have to end this because we have 9 minutes. What is your favorite color?
blue.
Who is your favorite artist or favorite top 3 artists?
Van Gogh, Michelangelo, Bourdelle.
What do you think your greatest contribution to the world has been?
I'm not allowed to talk about it. No, what is my greatest contribution to the world? Honestly, my 3 beautiful children. Seriously.
Favorite music to sculpt to?
Man, you're gonna think this is gonna sound funny. Honestly, lately I've been listening to a lot of prog rock, like Yes, and like old school Peter Gabriel, Genesis and stuff. Oh, my all-time favorite musician is Bowie. That's what I listen to the most.
Right.
But Bowie's. That's why I got the Black Star here, and that's why I have this right here. You know, Bowie's my guy. But I have been listening to a lot of Yes lately. It kind of relaxes me when I'm working.
Mm-hmm. Scott Thompson says Howard Stern. No, Joe doesn't listen to Howard Stern.
Not since he switched to Sirius. I was done with Howard when he got rid of Jackie. Basically, I don't know. It just didn't. He used to have more of a blue collar feel, and then once he got big time, it just kind of lost it for me.
Yeah, I got you. I understand that. Anything else you would like to share, Joe, with everybody? And by the way, everybody follow Joe. It's Joe Menna. It's MENNA _ sculptor. Is that what it is? You'll find him with Joe Menna.
Look, I just think it's an honor. It's a great honor to be able to be an artist. It's to be able to make a living and feed your family off of what you've always wanted to do is a privilege, and I don't take it for granted. And I'm very grateful for all the people who have been kind to me over the years, and as an artist, who have liked my work and like what I do, and been shown a lot of love and a lot of appreciation from the different companies that I work for, and they all treat me great, and I can't ask for anything else, you know.
Yes, sir. And it's an honor and a pleasure to work with you, Joe. It really is.
Likewise, man. You know, and it's just like I don't know. I mean, it's just working on that was a lot of fun, and when I can, when they're out, when they're finally hit the streets and people see them, I hope that they love them, and that will I'll be able to go into greater detail as to what a joy it truly was to work on them.
Yeah, no, it's also a joy to get to know you. You're a stand-up guy. You're a real artist. It's nice to deal with real artists who come from the traditional world, and I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I probably bored all your viewers too. So.
You definitely did not. Everyone's like, this is incredible. Scotsman writes, Scotland loves you. I pinned Svet's comment, which is Joe Menna _ sculptor. A lot of people saying, can't wait to have a BUA piece. It was an honor to see this. We can't say when the BUA pieces are coming out. Sorry to say, but Vision FUA, when they do come out, if you're following me, you will see them. Someone also said, Joe, you are a real one. So there you go. Everybody is just showing tremendous amounts of love. Nuisance 1, love you too, love you too. Makeup by Kate, love you. Caitlin Bottoms, always, always, always. Thank you for following and listening and tuning in. You guys are the best ever by far. All right, Joe. Hey, once again, I'm going out on my atlas that I drew all the way to the penis, all the way to the atlas, and then to Prometheus, getting his liver devoured by the vultures on the side there.
That was great. Thank you so much for having
All right,
me.
guys.
I can't
All
thank
right,
you.
man. Love you, brother. All right.
Take care.
I'm
Thank
going to
you.
call you in a couple minutes upstairs. Okay, bye.
Yes, sir.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care.